I'm Brad Jones. I play the Cinema Snob on thecinemasnob.com, that guy with the glasses.com, Blip TV, whatever sites my videos might get bootlegged to, I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure I'm on some German equivalent of YouTube somewhere.
I'm Jillian Zarowski. I say words that he writes on camera.
Actually, Lewis ghostwrites everything I do.
It's true.
I have zero talent.
Well, we cross onto Geek Juice Media now for like Live New Geeks on Mondays, riffing.
Live New Geeks, Geek Juice Radio. One guy's a fan. This is a Q&A panel. Anyone has any questions for any of us?
Mostly for him because it's his actual panel. I'm just here to do the fat grandma voice. That's all I do.
Do like the guy in on the old Tom Green show who was just sitting in the background in like a little window and just laughed at everything he said, and they like never acknowledged him.
I didn't watch Tom Green.
Apparently, I'm the only one who did. I
caught the tail end of it back when they were playing Doctor Who on KTMA.
Here's the thing, you didn't do enough drugs as I did in high school. It was amazing.
You know you went around putting your bum on everything.
I've chosen not to watch it sober because it probably doesn't hold up. Anyone have any questions? See ya, good night.
I was curious about your DVD or Hell series. What would you say was your favorite episode and the one that was the hardest to write?
I don't know if any of them were necessarily hard to write. The ones that are more difficult, not necessarily difficult, but the ones that take a little bit more research are like the religious ones, because you don't want to get any of that wrong. Like you're watching something like Deception of a Generation, Rocket's Your Decision, and if you're trying to point out some hypocritical things that they're saying, the last thing you want to do is also get it wrong. It's like, great, I'm an asshole while calling somebody an asshole. So those take a little bit more research, but nothing that's terribly difficult. It's not hard to counter a lot of what they're saying when they're saying that Castle Grayskull is evil because, I don't know, it's purple and it's, I don't know, that must mean Satan.
I would have kicked your ass for that one. I had all those toys when I was a kid.
That is why you're going to hell. According to the video.
Well, considering my mom was a church lady and she bought them for us, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
The ones that are the most fun to do are like the sitcoms, like Kyle, Honey, I'm Home. Like, oh, it's a sitcom about Hitler. Sweet. Hitler with a laugh track, and oh, it's kooky because his neighbors are Jewish. Like, this would make like a decent 5-minute sketch on Saturday Night Live or something like that, but like a half-hour sitcom, like, wow, this is rail thin. You can't make me like Hitler sitcom, I'm sorry. It's just not gonna happen.
You got a question?
There you go.
If I remember correctly, you're supposed to be the host for the game show on I Got Glasses. Do you know what's going on with that?
Me and Farad do. A lot of test episodes. We've been doing a lot of test episodes for it, getting the sound right on it, because it is a game show set. So there's some technical work that has to be perfected on it in terms of the sound. Also, it is live edited like a game show is. So, and also like it helps too in the sense that I do need it. Technical stuff aside, me personally, getting used to hosting a game show has helped me a lot. Doing some test episodes on it. In terms of when it's going to air, your guess is as good as mine. When they're still getting a lot of stuff perfected with like the live editing and things like that. But a lot of us have gotten comfortable doing it now since we've done so many episodes of it. I'm getting used to it because I'm not going to lie, I have no game show experience. When I started the Cinema Snob, I also didn't have comedy experience. So. Yeah. I get it from the board. From the good word. They're easy fine. Like Deception of a Generation, Rocket's Your Decision, Bible Man, things like that, they're on YouTube. The ones that I have bootleg DVDs of them that a buddy of mine just sends me random shit. Like I have no idea what it's gonna be. I have no idea if it's gonna be like Turkish Exorcist or Rockets Your Decision. Or... Yeah, he has a huge collection and he sends me some stuff sometimes. And so, but they are really easy to find. Like if you just search Bible Man on YouTube, Rockets Your Decision, they're all on there. Nice. God, no. I would be scared to find that out. Like, there is a thing though about Rockets Your Decision. Did any of you see that? Rockets Your Decision? It's this early 80s anti-rock and roll propaganda film. And it's this kid who's into rock music, but this is like a religious movie's version of rock music, so they're literally just singing about demons. Devils and demons. I don't remember that.
Ray, you're chanting.
That was one of Kiss's worst songs. So the kid's youth group minister says like, well, why don't you do research on this, blah, 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 end of movie. He's like kind of a bigot. So when I did that episode, I got a comment from somebody who was talking about the youth minister in the movie, and they said, oh my God, that is my acting coach. The guy who played the youth minister, which I kind of wondered if he was an actor, because truth be told, he was pretty good in the movie. He wasn't bad. Like, I kind of figured he was an actor, just not playing himself. So the person had his name on there, and I looked him up, and sure enough, he like teaches acting at like some university or something like that. And I keep wanting to write to him sometime and be like, dude, can I interview you about this random batshit crazy movie you were in like 1983, if you even remember? And I keep forgetting, but I need to do that sometime. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? He'll write back and tell me to fuck off.
We did so many takes of that record breaking.
Probably.
So the movie is lies then?
Yeah, that's the worst part of the movie.
My baby Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I don't know, like, it's, you never know what you're gonna find, you know? Well, I mean, you know, nowadays I kind of know what I'm gonna find, but I've been a horror exploitation guy all my life. So, you know, I grew up watching this stuff, and, you know, when I was younger and started watching it, you know, you'd get lost looking for stuff. You'd start looking at one title, and then it would say, like, you might like this, you might like this, you might like this, or just random shit you would find in the video store. So that's what I would do. I mean, like, shocker, I wasn't a sports person growing up. So I always went to the video store. I always rode my bike to the video store with a couple bucks, and I could rent like 6 movies. So I'd find just the most random shit, and just take them home and stay up till God knows when and watch them. Nowadays, since stuff is so much easier to find, whether you're talking about like just the DVDs or the different titles that are on DVD, or even websites that deal in stuff that isn't readily available, like whether you're talking about a site like Cinemageddon or something like that, you know, you don't know if you're going to find a movie about Bigfoot fucking, or if you're going to find a 4th movie about E.T. fucking, or like, oh my God, it's a 4th movie about a talking vagina. What more can I possibly say about this?
If it has a hole, there's a chance there's a movie about screwing it.
There is. He's right. He is totally right. Like, I have a movie at home that, oh, come on, you've seen me watch this.
I have to go over here.
There's a movie that I have at home that I haven't done on the site, and it's called Lulu's Talking Ass. Do I need to say what that's about? What a talking ass. The movie has an Oscar in it. She shoves it up her ass. And I've never done it on the site because it has no subtitles and it's not dubbed. Now, I have done stuff before that isn't dubbed or doesn't have subtitles, but in something like that, it's something like that that's very dependent on what it's saying. Like I need to have it specially, specially subtitled or something, so I can know what the ass is talking about. Probably. For all I know, it's a freaking remake.
Well, first, I'd like to say that my Double Chico costume has completely failed.
Jake is mad at you in spirit.
You can feel it. He's like, somewhere, somebody.
Yeah, somewhere he's by himself, very angry.
My real question is, one of my favorite series I actually liked was the Game Boy animated series.
Oh, yeah.
And are you guys planning on doing any more?
Actually, we are looking into doing more of that. I liked that series. I liked it quite a bit, and I thought that as it got into the later episodes, that it was kind of starting to sort of find a voice a little bit, you know? Because when you start a new series, you throw a bunch of stuff at the wall, you see what sticks, and then what sticks, you kind of grow with that. And in terms of Game Boys, the animated series, it involved Sasquatch.
But it wasn't cartoony enough.
Yeah, I got a lot of comments like that. So I threw in Sasquatch as like a throwaway gag, and Phalis did the voice of it, and I loved his voice as Sasquatch. So, and as Phalis too. I loved it so much that that I brought the character back in a later episode, even though he got shot in the head. Well, it's a cartoon, fuck it. I'll put a bandage around his head, he's fine.
People can survive bullet wounds to the head.
He's Sasquatch, maybe they can survive getting shot in the head, I don't know.
Walk it off.
So the thing with that show was I did 5 episodes of it, and it ran severely over budget, to the point to where I couldn't really do any more. I easily just couldn't do any more. But now I'm in talks with someone who is talking about, who's talking about taking it on. I was looking at some sample animation that they did, and it's really good. It is. And Christopher Niosi, Kerbifer, who was the original animator, actually he replaced Andrew Dickman. He was great. He was great, but I just couldn't afford to do the show anymore. And I've talked about doing other animation stuff with Christopher in the future. Just for this particular show, I just need someone who's more financially sound if I want to do more episodes. And I do want to do more episodes. So hopefully that'll all work out. Up front?
All right, I have 2. First one is, will we see both you and Jillian back in Ninja the Mission Force 3?
That's all up to Ed. We're just in it. I know that they like it to be an ongoing series, but it just really depends because Ed's wife, Megan, actually writes it, and I don't know how she does it. It's like Kung Pao, Enter the Fist. She just watches all of these things, writes around it, and I'm like, how can you hold all of that in your brain? So we haven't heard anything as of now. That's just completely, I almost said dark maze. It's Neon Harbor now.
How dare you.
And my second one, this is the ultimate guy question, so boobs or beard?
What?
Boobs or beard?
Boobs or beard?
Yeah.
Beard.
Or beard.
Beer. I was like,
Depends on the boobs, depends on the beard.
your sexy Terrence Malick costume?
If we're talking about Brian's beard, then beard, totally, all the way.
Have you seen Lana Patora's beard?
If we're talking Ilsa Shua for the SS's boobs, I mean, you gotta go with Ilsa. Even though she's a Nazi.
You can work around it.
Oh yeah.
Alright, well, considering that this is for you and Carl, can you elaborate on the Bibles in Time crossover review?
The what?
Bibles in Time crossover review?
Yeah, what about it?
I was like, how did you guys find it? Because I heard you knew the director and...
I'll start the story off. Basically, a fan donated Bimbos in Time to me, and as I'm going through this and reading it, and that was also the one I was sick for. It's the only episode that I would ever want to go back and refilm, because I feel like it was a great script, but I could do it better if I wasn't sick.
I want to redo it too. I am severely out of shape in that video.
So you're saying you want to remake it? after.
So I'm doing research on this, desperately trying to find anything. Ed Glazer knows nothing about it. Any of the Bimbos movies, because there are 3 of them that pop up, but I don't know if they're alternate titles or not. There's Bimbos BC, Bimbos in Time, and Prehistoric Bimbos in Armageddon City, which all sound like the same damn movie.
Yeah. I actually ran it by, because a friend of mine directed it. A buddy of mine, Todd Sheets, is the director of that movie. And I ran that by him. I was like, so, I'm going to cross over on one of your movies. Is that cool, buddy? And he's like, oh yeah, that's fine. He's like, just make sure you know that I wrote that when I was like 13.
And that was probably okay. I mean, what happened? And then a fan after the Bimbos in Time review came out, the comic one, because they all sound the same. A fan donated the Bimbos BC movie, and I watched it, and I was like, there's the same characters, but of course the artwork is so bad in Bimbos in Time. I don't know what the deal is with it. He did an interview with Todd Sheets for I think Radiodrome.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and he talked about it, and they expressly made the comic to be the worst comic ever. And high marks for that.
So like I'm doing a shot on Shitty.
And so I decided, well, this is a shot on Shitty kind of film. It's exactly Brad's territory, so let's do a crossover for it while we're doing Suburban Nights, and we did.
It was fun.
And then you did, and also a fan sent me the Manimal comic, which I then sent to you because I knew you would want to do something on that, so we did 2 crossovers.
I actually didn't think that comic was that bad. I was like, conceptual-wise, I kind of like the black man. It has nothing to do with the show. It's not even intended to have anything to do with the show. But I was like, I kind of want to see a movie based on this. This isn't bad at all.
It's kind of exploitation in own regard. It's about like a werewolf guy going around killing Nazis.
It all comes back to Nazis. That's the point of this Q&A.
Everybody loves to see Nazis get killed or beat up because they are still the original enemy that no one can feel sympathy for. Which is sad considering they become overused then. We need to see more like KKK getting beat up or something.
Well, they show up in a Medea Christmas. Right there, buddy.
What, when you started as a cinema snob, what was did you see one movie that you're like, there's this niche that I could totally dominate because everybody's doing reviews, but I could do something totally different from everybody else?
Well, I started the Snob in 2007, and at the time, there wasn't a lot of horror-related YouTube stuff in that vein, and I grew up watching horror. I grew up watching exploitation, so it's all very much in my wheelhouse. It's all stuff I'd be watching anyway, even if I wasn't doing the show. These are all movies I'd own. These are all movies I'd be watching. As opposed to, I doubt that, if Doug wasn't doing the critic, he'd be sitting around watching Steel. Maybe, I don't know. For all I know, he loves that movie. So at the time, this was 2007, so yeah, well, that was actually when a lot of us started. I think Doug also started in 06, 07. And so I wanted to do something in regards to exploitation films, obviously mainly because I was working a part-time job at the time, and I was working a part-time job at the time, and I had a lot of free time. I had a lot of free time to kill, and I had done a few movies, and I was like, maybe I'll give this YouTube thing a shot. And the Roger Ebert Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter review, was really funny because it was really soapboxy. It was hilarious. He didn't like the movie. Of course he didn't like the movie, but it was all this movie teaches us nothing, but you're just gonna grow up and die, and blah, blah, blah. Wow, that's deep. For Friday the 13th, the final chapter. So I was like, I kind of want to do something like that, like this pretentious movie guy who's stuck talking about exploitation films. Something that's totally not his wheelhouse. Yeah.
After seeing all the films that you've seen in your movie reviews, do you think the films coming out right now are better or worse than
We were kind of asked that the other day. I I see a lot more bad stuff now, but we're just at so many movies. We're at movies every single week, and while, you know, I'm not at everything that comes out, I am at least there doing something. And one thing that I've noticed is that your standards kind of change when you see a lot of that stuff, because like I can kind of picture myself seeing something that now I would say like, okay, well that's mediocre, that's, if you find it on Netflix, if you find it to rent, go for it, maybe give it a shot, spend a couple bucks on it, whereas maybe like 10 years ago I'd say like, well that was a piece of shit. But it just changes when
the standards change.
Yeah, because like, okay, while the remake of RoboCop was not very good, I wasn't pissed at it because it was better than Haunted House 2.
And clearly they were trying with that one.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, well, yeah, more so than Marlon Wayans fucking the Annabelle doll from The Conjuring.
And I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, like, we saw 2 movies
You want
that
to thank him for Marlon Wayans screwing the
I want to
Annabelle?
thank him with my fist.
I totally wrote that movie. No, well, yeah, that particular night, we were at both Haunted House 2 and Transcendence. And Transcendence is a piece of shit.
Be quiet. It wasn't bad.
Oh my god. Like, at least Lawnmower Man 2 has a dog that, like, knows how to run CD drives. But I wasn't pissed at Transcendence. Like, okay, I was like, yeah, don't go see this. This movie sucks ass. But I wasn't pissed because I had just seen Marlon Wayans fucking inanimate objects. Like, well, at least this has a story, I guess. I don't know. But, like, yeah, so sometimes I can be like, yeah, that's mediocre, whatever, because it doesn't have Medea in it. So your standards kind of change. But in terms of movies being better or worse, it's kind of like Doug said the other day. I mean, there was a dark period there in the late 90s when people just kind of assumed that a summer blockbuster would suck. You know, you'd have your Batman and Robins, you'd have your Battlefield Earths, you'd have Spawn, you'd have stuff like that. And now, you know, there are some really good blockbusters out there. There's stuff that's bad, of course. Yeah, there's stuff that's not very good. A few weeks ago, I was at Think Like a Man 2, that sucked. But X-Men Days of Future Past is really good. Edge of Tomorrow is really damn good. Is a great freaking movie. Probably the best one I've seen this summer. So there are some really damn good movies out there. And, you know, everyone remembers the classics. You know, we all remember Ghostbusters. We all remember the stuff that we loved as kids. There was shit back then too. There was endless love back then. There was, you know, there was shit back then as well. So I don't know. I think that standards have kind of changed, but there have always been bad movies. Yeah. Harley Quinn.
So this kind of follows along the same vein, but I was just wondering, which do you think is more preachy, God's Not Dead and Heaven is Real, or the DVDR Hell stuff?
The DVDR hell, because it's literally preachy. It's literally like looking at the camera saying, if you watch Smurfs, you're going to hell. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess if you're paying to see Smurfs, maybe, I don't know, but I don't. Yeah. I wasn't at the first one, but I was at the second one. And between God's Not Dead and Heaven is for Real, God's Not Dead was worse. God's Not Dead was way worse. God's Not Dead, how do I put it? It's like if you made a movie for people who really like pizza, and all it was trashing people who don't like pizza. Like, it was, if you are not like hardcore religious in this movie, you are a sociopath, you are a child beater, you are verbally abusive to your wife, you physically attack your students in your class. It's insane. It is absolutely insanity. I was at this movie in the middle of a youth group. A bus full of a youth group showed up to go see it, and you know, whatever, like, okay, it's made for them, sure, fine. They were so not interested in this movie. They were talking through the whole thing, which I was like, okay, this movie's a piece of shit. I don't care if the audience is talking, whatever. But I went to go see it with my buddy Dave, and he was having none of this. Like, there was a couple girls behind us who were talking nonstop through this movie, and and they were also playing on their phone. And again, I was like, whatever, this movie sucks, as if I'm missing pivotal plot parts. But Dave just turns around and just goes, "Will you kindly shut the fuck up?" They didn't say a word through the rest of the movie. And I think these were the same girls who were behind me in the concessions line when the little concession booth up there had like displays of like M&Ms, you know, Skittles, stuff like that, and also the ice cream sandwiches. Those obviously just the boxes. And one of the girls behind me said something like, "Why do they put that in the display? Isn't the ice cream gonna melt?" Yes.
My favorite color is clear.
Yeah, that was their follow-up point.
I'm
Heaven
to
is-
go see Twilight.
Heaven is for real. It's a Hallmark movie. You know, that's it. It's it. It wasn't good. It wasn't particularly well acted, except for Greg Kinnear. A lot of people were just sleepwalking through the movie. Like Thomas Hayden Church is in this, and he wanted to be anywhere else but this movie. His sleepwalking in this movie was inspiring. Like he would just walk on camera and just be like, "Hey, hey man, what are you doing? Guess I'm going to the bank. Bye." Leaves. It was amazing. But God's Not Dead, way worse. Way freaking worse. Yeah.
Given the experience you have now, and especially with stuff like the incident you had with Nail Gun Massacre, what kind of advice would you give to people who did want to start up a new series?
You talking about like copyright issues?
With copyright issues, or with like the way that YouTube is now, about how their bullshit is, or just in.
You know what? Do what you want to do. Fuck it. You know, you want to make something, whatever. You know, fuck it. Put in whatever you want. And you know, if you get flagged for it, appeal it. That's what I did with Nail Gun Massacre. You know, I got flagged by, I don't know, like the company or the DVD company or the producer. I don't know.
Distributor, I think it was.
Was it? Okay, yeah, I think, yeah, the distributor. And yeah, I appealed it and my account got turned back on. It happened again like a year after that when I put up a trailer for Lady Terminator. And I appealed it and it got turned back on. You know, obviously if you're uploading just whole movies on there, you might get in some trouble.
Conversely, I uploaded History of Power Rangers all to YouTube when I decided to make another YouTube account for older stuff, and I got copyright strikes. Like I had to do, if I want to put it back up, I have to submit counter claims on it, and to do that would mean it's technically a legal action, and I'm not going to try to fight with Toei on that. Saban is okay with it. Saban does not care, because I give them promotion, and I'm part of their power force or whatever. Toei, however, I'm not going to try to fight because they don't get YouTube.
As your attorney, you're fine.
Well, there's people that
Do it, take them on, do it.
there's people that have like their original music and shows, and
yeah.
they're getting flagged by bots. Jowski from Geek Juice, he got flagged for his own video saying that it belonged to Geek Juice Media.
Noah got flagged. They wanted written permission from me over the theme to Greatest American Hero. Because apparently someone at YouTube is under the impression I own the rights to the theme to Greatest American Hero.
Regular theme song too. They want permission from the Irresponsibles, who did give them written permission, and they still said, "No, this is not enough proof." YouTube is messed up, but still, yeah, go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Right there? You right there. There you go.
Fat grandma, what's
What's
it mean to life?
the meaning of life? Meaning of life is to shut your mouth and eat your sass cakes.
I love Fat Grandma so goddamn much.
I was so worried about Fat Grandma when Lupa and Phalos invented the character. I hated it. I thought this was like, I'm sure I'm being offensive to someone. I don't know who, but I don't want to piss anybody off.
Who cares? Makes us laugh, man. That's holy shit.
And then the response to the time machine that I found at the yard sale came in. Everybody everybody loved Fat Grandma. So
Yeah.
seeing how much joy the character brought, I quickly turned around on it.
And I sent him an emergency Fat Grandma cameo one time. This was during Sasquatch Week, and I was watching a movie called Black River Monster. Yeah, Black River Monster. Shot on Shittio movie. I'm sitting there watching it, and then all of a sudden, Fat Grandma pops up. The main guy in the movie also plays like his mom in the movie, who kind of looks like and sounds like Fat Grandma. And I'm watching like, oh my God, Fat Grandma's become like self-aware. He's just randomly popping up in these movies. So
Fat Grandma is a force of nature.
Yeah. So I send Lewis like, I'm like, dude, I know this is short notice. Would you be able to do a quick Fat Grandma? And I wrote it quick. Like, if you watch the episode, it's random when it comes in. It's like right at the end of the episode. Because I just wrote it so fast, and he got it back to me like in really good time.
The thing that's the only annoying thing about the Fat Grandma cameos is when they ask me to interact with Linkara at the same time, because that means I have to change camera angles and make things look semi-decent and in those regards. Plus, I don't like to acknowledge Fat Grandma in the actual Top the Fourth Wall episodes.
You did one time, right? Didn't he show up?
I have her in a commercial bumper when I'm fiddling with a teleporter, and suddenly it's an explosion, and Fat Grandma is suddenly there saying, "That's no good cinema stuff."
Yeah.
Where the hell am I? And then in the background, and the white, I love having the whiteboard on my fridge now, because now I'm writing in like random things. I have like plot hints for both future plot stuff and the movie. And then at the bottom, who is Fat Grandma? Because I love the idea that in the universe, Linkara does not know anything about Fat Grandma, but people are still asking him about it.
You're gonna have like pictures on the wall with strings connecting and a big question mark and be like, patient zero.
Yeah. You're right there.
My question is for Brad, and actually, Linkara, if you've ever been to one of these. I'm from Canada, so we don't really have like the state fairs. There, where like you deep fry everything.
Yeah.
What would you say is the weirdest thing you've ever had?
Weirdest?
That's hard.
I don't know. Like, there's been some stuff that's gross. Like, I do not like pickles, so
Okay, but that's not necessarily
No,
out
it's
there.
gross. I mean, for me, like a deep fried pickle with like, I don't know, like questionable sauce in the middle.
Did you ever try the deep fried butter? I know that
No,
was like
here's what happened with
It's like,
that.
nope.
Like, it said on the State Fair website that there was going to be deep fried butter there one year, and I've seen it before on television, and it just looks like the outer shell of a corn dog with like melted butter inside.
Well, I can actually hear you getting fat.
Yeah, and so we found the booth that the fried butter was supposed to be at, and we said like, yeah, do you still have the deep fried butter? Saying that with a straight fucking face. And she was like, no, we stopped doing that. We had some accidental issues there. And I didn't ask, but I was like, what the fuck happened? Did it explode on somebody's face? Did somebody die? Like, oh, probably, but...
Heart clogger.
Yeah.
I'm coming, Elizabeth!
We've never had it there since. I mean, maybe the most far out, which isn't really that far out, but like, considering what's at a lot of fairs, but the turkey balls, we did that.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, the deep fried turkey balls, actually, they weren't bad.
Okay, so good in my mouth.
Yeah, it wasn't, I thought it was fine. It wasn't the worst thing I had at the fair.
The chocolate covered corn dog was pretty nasty.
I didn't think that was that nasty. Like, I mean, it wasn't good, but it's like anything else that I have that's like a food that you wouldn't normally put chocolate on, and then it has chocolate on it. For me, it's like, okay, it just tastes like that food, but with chocolate spilled on it. Like, it's not that bizarre to me, like the chocolate-covered bacon. The only one that was gross was like the chocolate-covered larva.
Yeah, first Brad tries.
Yeah, that was one of the earlier ones.
He ate bugs.
It was so foul, man. Like, the chocolate wasn't even good. It tastes like grass. It tastes like a fly shit on it.
You're supposed to use Hershey's chocolate as a dipping sauce.
Yeah, I don't even know if that could have been. Maybe. It would have masked it. Southern cooking.
Damn straight!
Speaking of cease and desist issues, have you ever gotten any kind of conversation on the Grizzly 2 review issues?
Yes and no, I think. Like, here's what happened there. The Grizzly 2 video had been up for several months, and suddenly I get an email from somebody saying that they're the producer of Grizzly 2. And at first I thought it was someone fucking with me. Like, it was written in like heavily broken English, and I'm like, who the fuck? And so I looked up the person's name. Sure enough, it matched the producer of Grizzly 2. And she's like Hungarian. She's like I believe she's like a Hungarian art dealer in New York. And she was pissed. She was really pissed. Like, she thought I was playing myself in the video. And so she was yelling at me for berating this movie, and
How dare you!
Yeah, pretty much a mixture of that, and I had no right to use it, and she was going to contact her lawyer, and all of this. So I talked to Mike Mashad, who's the CEO of Channel Awesome, and was like, what do I do here? Because this is kind of a gray area. Normally we are pretty protected by that, but this is a gray area because Grizzly 2 was never finished and it was never officially released. It only exists on bootlegs, and it is easy to find. You can go to any convention and find it.
But you don't condone buying illegal material or downloading.
Once the buying stops, the killing stops.
We at CinemaSnob.com do not condone any kind of illegal activity whatsoever.
And hell, I think you can even find it on YouTube. And so Mashad said he was going to talk to somebody about it, and he got back to me and said, just to be safe, you might as well take it down. And so I did, and it was no big deal, but it had been up for months. I had already made whatever revenue I was going to make from it. The episode was leaked onto YouTube, whatever, it's no big deal. So I took it down. But before it was taken down, I got a voicemail from the lady who produced it. I don't know how she found my fucking number, but she did.
Sorry.
She found my phone number, and she left me a voicemail that was significantly more polite than the email. Like, actually, it was fairly nice. I could still barely understand what she was saying, but it was nicer, which led me to believe, like, maybe she talked to her lawyer, and her lawyer was like, maybe ask him nicely, and don't, like, call him a fucker. So yeah, it was significantly friendlier. And then, you know, I took it down. I never talked to her, but several months after it was taken down, I got a friend request from her on LinkedIn, which, one, I didn't know I had a LinkedIn account. So yeah, apparently I fucking have one, and I guess she's my friend on there. I've never spoken to her at all. I wish her luck in her art dealings and stopping people from talking about Grizzly 2, I guess.
She's gonna watch this and be like,
That
yeah,
son of a
if you could take
bitch.
that video
That's
down,
the
that'd be
fucker.
great.
You've impugned the good name of Grizzly 2, sir.
Here's the thing, Grizzly 2, like, if they finished the movie and actually put the shots of the bear in it, it wouldn't have been that bad. Like, alright, it's a bear, it's in the woods, at one point, it starts killing a bunch of people at a rock concert. Alright, this could be kind of entertaining. Too bad there's no bear in it. There's no inserts of the bear. So when you see actors like George Clooney, Charlie Sheen, and Laura Dern getting killed, they're getting killed by nothing. Like, Charlie Sheen is being drugged through the woods by nothing. It looks like he's being drugged by a ghost. Something killed him. I guess it was a bear.
It was the ghost bear.
I'm guessing they got kicked out of the country before they could do any second unit footage.
Yeah, apparently that's what happened, but that it was shot in Hungary, and apparently I don't know why, but for some reason they did get kicked out, I believe that's how it went. But most of the movie, you could think that, like, okay, they could have just shot some scenes of a bear and just spliced it into the movie. A lot of the movie is done. Like, it is like 90 minutes. It isn't like it's just like 20 minutes of raw footage. It is almost a complete film. So it's like, why wasn't this ever, I kind of hope it would have been finished, because really it was kind of funny.
Well,
and it's a never bear.
In Hungary, they hold bears in the highest regard, so they didn't want to besmirch.
That's why she was so
bears.
In the back there? Yeah.
Are you ever going to review anything by John
John T. Bone again. I have two questions. First one is, are you ever going to review by John T. Bone again? And what was the hardest episode of the Cinema Snob to write?
Dick Black, the Black Dick. So much black dick.
By John T.
What are you looking at me?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably do something by John T. Bone again. I don't know what, but he's got a giant filmography, and there'd be a lot to pick from. The porno episodes are the easiest ones to write.
Fast forward through everything.
Honestly, well, like, because I can't show any of the porn from it, and whenever I need kind of a break, you know, like when I'm like, okay, this episode will be easier to do than something else, to give myself kind of a break for the week, I'll typically pick a porno episode, because you're working with significantly less footage. I do tend to kind of fast forward through a lot of the porno sequences, because I can't show any of it. You know, I can't show anything of it, but I can see what's going on. It's just going on in fast motion, so if something stupid is happening, like Beavis from the Beavis and Butthead porn getting his nose stuck in someone's ass, then yeah, okay, I'll stop it there and see what that's about. And if I can do anything with it, then yeah, I'll put it in there. In terms of what's the most difficult to write, I don't know what singly the most difficult one would be to write, but
Boring stuff.
yeah, stuff that like just kind of gives you nothing. Hitler's Harlot wasn't easy to write for, because, you know, the movie was just fucking, like that was it. It was just like some people in a waiting room, there's a Nazi there, and he's like, you, come to the back room, okay, fuck, and wash, rinse, repeat, happens again. The movie's like an hour long. So, yeah, I went ahead and did that one, and I was like, it wasn't hard to write for, it was just there wasn't a lot to talk about, because there's just a lot of stuff I couldn't show. Yeah, if I could have shown it uncut, I probably could have joked about some more stuff.
Well, I remember, and I don't remember the specific names, but there's been a few where the movie has a majority of filler, and so those are more difficult because not a whole lot happens.
Yeah, but luckily, like, it isn't like Mystery Science Theater riff tracks where you're ripping the entire film. Usually when something like that happens in something where there isn't maybe a whole lot going on in the scene, and it is just filler, you know, you can get away with not really
I just remember you
spotlighting.
telling me that it was like, I don't know what to write. It didn't give me anything to work with. It's like half the
Oh,
movie
like
is
Night
her
of
walking
Horror.
through the thing.
Like something like Night of Horror, where the first half of it was just driving.
Yes.
Yeah, that was. But those are also kind of my favorites, because I really like the ones that it is just as hard for the viewer to sit through as it is for me. Like, okay, like Night of Horror, or Nuki, or To Catch a Yeti, you know, stuff like that. The ones where I get comments that say like, wow, that movie sucked so bad. Like, I almost gave up halfway through. It was that hard to fucking sit through. Like, I like finding stuff that's that fucking horrible. And Night of Horror is one of them. Nuki is one of them. Hell, it was hard for you to watch Nuki.
Yeah, when I saw your review, I was like, God, that was hard to sit through, and that wasn't even the movie. That's your review. And I'm like, no.
Just me snarking about it.
I remember writing the Bimbos in Time review, going back to that for a second, and I like messaged you, dude, how do you do this every week? I have too much material to work with.
Booze.
I have like 2 pages already. I'm only 5 minutes in.
Right, yeah. That actually, yeah, ones that give you too much material are kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that was a Hack-A-Lantern for you. I remember you tweeted about that.
Yeah, Hack-A-Lantern. Off the top of my head, that Little Red Riding Hood one I watched. Little Red Riding Hood and the Monsters or something
director.
like that. Yeah, that was hard to watch. Or no, I mean, well, it was kind of hard to watch, but like that, I was sitting there like, wow, this is giving me like too much material. I'm like, it's gonna take me like a long time to edit this. This is gonna be like a 40-minute episode.
Just turn it into a feature film episode.
Yeah, it's the Cinema Snob movie 2. Just me talking about Little Red Riding Hood. Yeah. It was, I liked the new Godzilla. I liked it. I wish it was the movie the trailer sold us. It's not. That's probably the most misleading trailer I've seen in years. But I liked it. The exciting parts of the movie were good. The exciting parts of the movie made some of the slower parts worth sitting through once you got to some really good shit in that movie. The movie made some phenomenal mistakes. Killing, okay, is anyone...
Spoilers!
There's a, all right, I won't, there's a, the only good character in the movie is wasted like 20 minutes in, which is a phenomenal mistake, and I understand why they showed nothing but him in the trailer, because he is the only good one in the movie. The difference between this Godzilla and, say, okay, like the first one, or some of the better ones of the past, is that, okay, this one, like the other ones, you know, you have your big climax at the end, you know, there's stuff involving humans, there's stuff involving other characters, other monsters. Okay, fine, the setup of it is not that much different than some of the better Godzilla movies. The difference being is that those other ones that I think are better than this newer ones at least had better stuff to cut away to when it wasn't the monsters. This one did, when it was cutting away to stuff that didn't involve the monsters, it was flat. Like, it was really flat. Like, I did not give a shit. Like, Aaron Johnson could have been wasted a half hour in, I wouldn't have given a fuck. But like I said, there is good stuff about it. I recommended it, I did. There was, the monster action is great. Ken Watanabe's really good. Bryan Cranston is really good. But it was relying heavily on the monster stuff for its success, and not necessarily the humans, which were just dull as a doorknob.
Plus, it should be noted that the original Godzilla is made for a very different audience and for a different time with a different message altogether. Yeah. And this is not like, I mean, the thing about Roland Emmerich's Godzilla movie is that it would have been just fine if it wasn't Godzilla.
I agree with that.
It would have been just fine as if you just called it, if you would just like call it like a remake of Beast of 20,000 Fathoms or something.
Yeah, I honestly, I agree with that. I think the worst part of that movie is that it's called Godzilla. I do. I mean, there are other stupid things about it, but
yeah,
what? It's okay. There's gonna be something stupid. It's a
but
Roland Emmerich.
It just would have been like all the other crappy late '90s summer blockbusters.
Well, I mean, I think it's better than like Batman and Robin and some and Spawn and stuff like that. But yeah, I agree with what Lewis said about that movie.
The only other thing I'll say about that I have a slightly different opinion of on the characters angle is none of the characters were stupid. And I'll take boring or lifeless versus stupid and pissing me off any day.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can add charisma to it.
True.
Like,
I mean, I'd prefer charisma too, yeah.
Yeah, like charisma would be really important for me. Like a character can be like dumb as shit, but if he's somewhat charismatic, I can tolerate it a little more. But I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Like, you know, it's also not fun to sit there and just scream at these idiots on screen.
There's a giant lizard attacking the city. What? No.
If it was Wahlberg in Godzilla, it'd probably be my favorite movie of the summer. I love Wahlberg. Wahlberg can sell me on so much, man.
Happening Wahlberg, though.
No, Pain and Gain Wahlberg.
I haven't seen Pain and Gain.
Pain and Gain is awesome. I highly recommend Pain and Gain. It's a legitimately great movie. Way in the back, green shirt. Nice. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean, Caligula is my favorite movie. So I've seen the movie hundreds of times, and it was kind of interesting when you're taking notes on something you've seen 100 times, because you kind of get ahead of yourself. Like, you start taking notes for scenes that haven't happened yet. Like, you could be like, wow, I've got a page of notes, and I'm only 5 minutes into the movie.
You could have done it from memory. You've seen that movie so many times.
You made a lot of jokes about the fisting ahead of time.
Yeah. It's that look on Vidal's face, man. Like, when he's like, when it hits him, like, I need to put a flower in this guy's ass. That's the kind of ad-libbing right there. That's what this scene needs. Caligula, the funniest thing about doing the Caligula episode is when I got an email from somebody, like, probably a week after I did it. It wasn't long after I did the episode. And some dude emailed me and said, "You motherfucker. Like, I watched that movie with my girlfriend. She fucking left the room. It was gross. I think she's gonna break up with me." Dude, That's your own fault, all right? Like, while
You knew
I
what it
couldn't
was
show,
going into it.
yeah, like while I couldn't show the roughest stuff from Caligula, I still talk about it. Like, even from that review, you know there's a guy getting fisted, and you know that there's like a head chopping machine, and like guy being forced with wine and like cut open and shit, and then like the guy getting his dick fed to a dog, like. It's like, don't blame me, dude. That's your fault. You know what? I made the same mistake, though. I made the same mistake. I was dating a girl one time, years and years ago, and she had never seen Clockwork Orange, and she'd never seen Caligula, and she knew my favorite movie was Caligula, and so I showed her. It wasn't Jillian. I loved it. I showed her Clockwork Orange. I showed this girl Clockwork Orange. She loved it. She thought it was great. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't know, she'll like Caligula, but maybe she can sit through it just fine. So I get up to put the movie in the DVD player. And as I'm doing that, she goes, yeah, I've really got no problem with like sex and violence. I just don't like stuff with porn in them. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I'm like, I turn around, I'm like, you might not like this. And she's like, that's your favorite movie, let's watch it. And I'm like, okay. We got through 15 minutes of it. And it was seriously like one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever done in my life. Like, it was like I was showing her like a snuff film of her grandmother. Like, it was that level of discomfort. Like, and I'm just like, I'm like sweating bullets. I'm like, why am I not shutting this off? That would be the smartest thing for me to do right now. And just eventually she says, when was it? It was like 15 minutes in. It was like when he first got to Tiberius's grotto and he's swimming with the little fishes. And she said, the girl said, like, I am not enjoying this, that's literally what she said. And I got up, I'm like, all right, I'll take the movie out. She goes, no, it's your favorite movie. And I'm like, okay, this movie's 2.5 hours and we're 15 minutes in. And I was like, if you're already upset by this, it's not gonna get better for you. And so she was like, isn't there another version? I'm like, well, yeah, there's the R-rated version. I mean, it kind of sucks. And she's like, why don't you put that one in? And I'm like, all right. So I put in the R-rated version of Caligula, and then the movie ended, and she's like, that sucked. I'm like, yeah, it's the R-rated version. That, and I don't know, that relationship might have lasted a couple more weeks. I bought her a lot of flowers the next day after that.
Did you put him on her ass?
Yeah. That's what bought me the extra week. Yeah.
On the subject of Caligula, I wanted to ask you, since it's your favorite movie, have you considered reviewing another favorite movie of yours for the cinema?
I've done some. Mommy Dearest is one of my favorites.
Sleepaway Camp.
I don't know if that's one of my favorite movies.
Well, no,
it's one of my favorite slasher
really
movies.
Enjoyed. I just meant
Oh yeah, I do stuff I enjoy all the time. In terms of like movies that I consider to be some of my favorite movies, some of my favorite movies are like, you know, The Hollywood Nights, The Great Race, Vice Squad, the original Dawn of the Dead, Saturday Night Fever. Those movies wouldn't be good Cinema Snob episodes. Like, there's no reason why I do a Cinema Snob episode on those. But, you know, Caligula just kind of happened to fall in that wheelhouse of stuff that, you know, yeah, it is my favorite movie, but also it's exploitive as shit. So, yeah, it kind of makes for a good episode. Yeah, off the top of my head, no, I can't think of anything that's necessarily in my top 10 favorite movies that I would do. Maybe Cruising. Cruising's one of my favorite. That'd be in my top 20.
Do Cruising 2.
There's a How do I not know about this?
I know, never mind. I was thinking of Eddie and the Cruisers.
All right, one of my favorite movies, Eddie and the Cruisers.
Yeah, my mistake. I was thinking of Eddie and the Cruisers 2.
That movie, yeah, I've seen that movie. Eddie Lives. Yeah. But I would maybe do an episode on cruising. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. Review a little out of comment.
Yeah.
Just a quick question here. If you actually had the budget, which one of your original films would you remake?
I wouldn't remake any of them, because while there's some of them that I have some problems with, like the first movie I did called Freak Out, I don't watch it like at all really, but if I did, I would see nothing but stuff I would change. I would see nothing but the problems that it has. But that was just simply the kind of filmmaker I was at the time. That was just the style that I did at the time, which actually isn't that much different than my current style. But, you know, that was just how I directed that movie when I was 22 years old or something like that. So they're a product of who I was at the time, for better or worse, and I wouldn't remake that. Same with early Snob episodes. I wouldn't remake that either. A couple reasons. One, same thing I just said, and two, I don't like the early Snob episode, so if I remade it, that would make people watch the earlier episode out of curiosity, and I don't want that.
Well, not only that, but people will be like, you talk about remakes are bad, and now you go and remake your own stuff.
You're seeing me now.
Ignore. Yeah.
Wasn't really anything against the old stuff, because I liked Freak Out. She was kind of like, it made me uncomfortable.
Get out. I know her, I can say that.
And I remember Midnight Heat.
Thank you.
It's just, I was just curious, because normally you see games like Metal Gear getting remade for like GameCube with updated graphics, but it's the same story. That's why I was curious.
No, I wouldn't do anything like that. You know, they are what they are. There's some of them I really like. I really like Midnight Heat. I really like Hooker with the Heart of Gold. I like parts of Cheap. I'm not a huge fan of Freak Out, but you know, they are what they are. They're a product of just the kind of movies I was making at the time.
Well, we can go back and add like CGI AT-ATs and Tom-Toms.
But I had a CGI corkscrew dick and added a Freak Out.
Shout out Shinio's gonna have a special edition 20 years from now. It'll be recorded in digital video.
Be the third version of that movie. Lewis got you.
Best comic you've ever read? Like, you've read so many comic book videos?
Wow.
This is for all three of you.
Okay, one on, I don't know, it was one of the midnight screenings. It said something like, I don't know, they wanted to have sex with Jake. And it said something like, I hope Jake's ass accepts British currency because I'm going to give it 500 pounds. Yeah.
Most people know this one. I will never be as popular as the Bee Gees. I put that on the DVD.
You are no Barry Gibbs, sir.
My favorite is actually a troll comment, and I'll never forget it, and it just made me laugh so hard. And it was, Jillian's voice is so annoying, it makes me want to slam my dick in a car door and swallow a live grenade. And then I was like, wait till he sees the next Twilight Girl review.
That was Dave who said that. Yeah.
Jillian, has there ever been a movie, not even like a midnight screening, but any movie that you've had to watch with Brad that has made you not want to talk to him for weeks?
Well, that's why we broke up, so.
We haven't spoken, this is the first time we talked to each other in like 2 years.
Yeah. I don't think so. There was nothing really.
We were somewhere, a couple.
I mean, they would have been midnight screenings. There's nothing really that.
Remember when I was watching? I think it was Frankenstein Island, and
Well, that was early on.
that was way early. And I was like just kind of watching it, and I wasn't saying anything. I was just watching it. You said something like, "I feel like I'm bothering you at work."
Yeah.
Please, I beg you to stay. This movie sucks. And I remember when I was watching a Serbian film. Yeah. And it got to the newborn porn scene. It got to that scene. You were asleep, I think. And I was sitting there. When that scene came on, I was like, am I legally allowed to have this movie? What the fuck? But I kept my finger on the remote, just in case you would walk through the room and I could quickly shut it off. Because how the fuck am I going to explain that? Oh, sorry, the baby fucking makes sense in context? Like, what am I going to say?
Well, that's what you're into, as...
Yeah.
No, I actually know the answer to that question. Pink flamingos.
Oh.
I did not. I watched that with you, and I knew it was raunchy, but I didn't know. Like, and so I'm sitting there. I'm sitting there eating. It was either an egg salad sandwich or hard-boiled eggs, and I knew nothing of this film. And I'm just like, I dropped the sandwich. I'm done.
Is the shit eating part?
No, it was the eggs, like all the eggs, and then it got to the shit. And then it got to the shit eating part. And I was like, done.
It's so weird because the shit eating in that movie is real, but is phenomenally more gross than the shit eating in or is phenomenally less gross than the shit eating in Sallow that's fake. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because in Pink Flamingos it's cheekier. Like she seems happy about eating it. Divine does. Like, how much is that doggy in the window is playing? And she's like, okay, well, I'm not into this, but she seems happty. Who am I to judge?
That's when I left. The chicken fucking scene. That's when I was like, all right, I'm gonna go play WoW.
That makes sense in context. You just weren't paying attention.
But I didn't like it. I didn't hate him or anything. It was just one of those.
Sorry, my car is here.
All right, we're ready to go. See ya.
Oh, I am.
Way in the back. Yeah. What's that? Well, where do I get them from? Either usually from my own collection, which I've collected stuff for years. It either comes from my own collection, or I had a buddy who would send me just some random stuff sometime, just for shout outs on the site. Like he used to have a little banner on there. He ran VHSWasteland.com, I believe, and he would just kind of send me stuff just in exchange for promotion. And some of the stuff like Rockets Your Decision, Deception of a Generation came from him.
There are conventions too, where you just go past the tables and be like, I have to do this one.
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Comic conventions in particular have lots of bootleg DVDs.
Actually, it was the horror con ones usually.
Oh, horror cons too, but comic ones have a lot of the weird superhero ones especially.
Hat? No. No. I mean, unless it's like illegal or something. Like, I don't know if I should watch this snuff film. Pride, yeah. No, I've never seen something and was like, I'm offended by this, shut up. Like, I mean, there are certain... I have a pretty good threshold on stuff like that. It's not easy to offend me. Some stuff, you know, is pretty wrong. Like, the last episode I did was that movie Wired. And even I was like, this is tasteless. If you haven't seen Wired, it's a 1989 bio on John Belushi that starts out with John in the morgue waking up from his body bag, grabbing a donut, scarfing it, and belching. And it's like, okay, I don't think that happened. And then it turns into shenanigans. Like, it turns into, like, it looks like Animal House. Like, he runs out of the hospital, like, whoa! And you're expecting, like, shenanigans music to be playing. And again, this is taking place after he died. And he gets in a cab that is being driven by his guardian angel, who is a Puerto Rican cab driver named Angel, played by an Italian, Ray Sharkey.
I get it.
It gets worse. There are parts where he's awake on the autopsy table, they're cutting him open, and it looks like there's like a laugh track playing, and one guy looks like a hibachi chef, and it's just, you're sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, if you were to watch this movie, you will come away with this movie, like, thinking that John Belushi was a guy who did drugs and that's it. Like, the movie, it's the worst thing, probably one of the single worst bios ever made. There's a part where it's slapsticky because his coffin won't fit onto the airplane. You're expecting the laugh track to kick in. It's like, whoa, well, let's turn it on its side.
Like the Three Stooges trying to get it in the...
Yeah, and then they take him out of the coffin and strap him in one of the chairs when he's still in the body bag. Like, wow. At the same time, I'm kind of like, if I die tragically, I kind of want a movie like this about me.
I'm surprised they didn't do like a John Belushi version of Operation after the movie came out.
They did, when he was awake on the autopsy table.
I get the game, like how they have...
Oh, okay.
Belushi Operation.
Yeah, that'd be something. Brad?
So let's land us some 80s Dan.
80s Dan will most likely have a movie. It won't be something that's on DVD. It'll be something that you can see on the site. There's not a lot I want to say about it, other than it's gonna happen, and it might start as soon as I get done with the current season of the Reviewers, which will the first season of the Reviewers will probably be like 5 or so episodes maybe, and I've done 2, including the pilot. So once that's done, yeah, I'm looking into doing like an 80s Dan movie that'll be different than what you're used to seeing in the show. It'll be kind of like how the Cinema Snob movie was kind of a love letter to like giallos, slasher movies and stuff like that. The 80s Dan one will be kind of like an homage, like a very dark comedic homage to like late 80s, early 90s, like psychological thrillers, like stuff like The Stepfather and things like that, like The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. That's kind of the angle that I'm going. And it'll have the characters in it, like Rob, Dolly, Mrs. Crabtree, Travis Crabtree, Dan, of course. But it'll go in a different direction than the show is. That's what made me
Kind of like how our Christmas special had Nazis in it. And Merry Christmas, everybody!
Dan is filmed in front of some corpses.
Yeah.
We put them in the closets before we start filming.
What is your obsession with Matthew Buck dressing up as a Nazi?
It's not so much Matthew dressing up like a Nazi. I love getting Matthew to say stuff that he wouldn't normally say. Like, whether it's that, where like I'm not wearing a Nazi costume, and what was another one? Where it was like he said I like tits or something like that. What can I say? I like tits. You know, because I love getting Matthew to do. I like doing that with anyone, like getting them to act or say something that's kind of.
I'm not doing a nude scene as fat grandma, Brad.
I got you covered on this one, man. Yeah.
I like doing that with little kids, like my nieces and stuff. I'm like, go tell Dad this. It's gonna be hilarious.
I always wanted to do a movie with Matthew where he played a serial killer. Like straightforward, like creepy as shit. Like something like Twisted Nerve or something. That would be kind of cool.
And my second thing is, I know Walshy just commented saying that he's done making videos, and I know you said before that you're not a fan of the Saw franchise. Would you be interested in doing Saw 6 in 3D?
I actually like a lot of the Saw movies. There's a few of, the Saw movie just kind of got to where it was just kind of like an obligation, sort of, because they came out one every year, and I like there being like an every year franchise, like in the 80s where like for a while there, every year there was a new Friday the 13th. And the first few Saw movies I liked. I kind of liked how they all kind of just, they were sort of like the Back to the Future 2 of horror films. Like, you couldn't just go into one of the sequels not knowing it. They all cross into each other. And when you break it down, they make no fucking sense. But some of them were kind of entertaining. Costas Mandalore was kind of badass in some of them. The 3D one sucked. The 6th one was kind of fun. The 5th one blew.
The last one was the one that you like really did, right, Dave?
3D sucked. They was like, we're gonna bring back Carrie Owens and have him wear a cape head for no reason.
As you wish.
Topo Chico.
Now, you had an unfortunate incident a long time ago. We lost the DVD collection.
Good times.
Lost it in the hands of some person that gamed it.
Were you able to recover? Were there certain things that like you could never get back from that?
I never really kind of started. I'll still buy some DVDs every now and then and stuff like that. VHSs definitely. I have quite a few like big box VHSs. In terms of the DVDs, oh man, what did I put? Like maybe $14,000-$15,000 into that DVD collection. And I was not quick to start that over again. I always said to myself that like if I ever had the money to, I would just go ahead and just buy them all back at once. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. Or most of them anyway. I did find out what happened to them. They were the guy that this landlord had taken them and he pawned them. But he pawned them at one of the pawn shops that I didn't even know about. That I don't think a lot of us knew about at the time.
Like years later, and you were
Yeah,
like,
and it
oh my
was-
God, this is my home.
It was like a couple of years later, and I found out which pawn shop they went to. Most of them had already been bought up, and they weren't all there. Some of them were. I bought a couple of them back, but I don't know. Like, even if I went there and they were all there, I doubt they would have just given them back to me.
If those are mine, they got stolen. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, there you go.
But you lost some original like stuff you guys did in high school, didn't you?
Yeah, I lost it. I lost a couple of our old, I lost a couple of our old movies, like Sadistic Bitch. I did a movie called that.
You need to remake that. Foster's the up for it.
If I do a sequel to like shot on Shitty-O, maybe that'll be one of the segments. Oh. Harley Quinn?
Alright, so some of my favorite movies of yours have kind of been like I Spit on Your Grave and kind of Holocaust, where it's kind of like the one where you didn't really know how to edit, because you kind of just did a found footage or something like that showed kind of your process. Like, at what point do you decide, yeah, that's how I'm going to take this, because I don't know how to handle it any other way?
Well, early on, because stuff like Cannibal Holocaust and stuff like I Spit on Your Grave I've seen before. So it wasn't like I was going into them cold. It wasn't like I didn't know anything about them. I've seen them many times. And so I knew going into Cannibal Holocaust that it was going to kind of be a riff on found footage. I knew going into I Spit on Your Grave that there would be that sketch where they're running after me in the park. So honestly, it was fairly easy to do those episodes, because they had a game plan. They had a game plan from the very beginning. So you write the sketch, and then you just work on the riffs that are around the sketches. So yeah, that was easy enough, and that's the best way to kind of take on material like Cannibal Holocaust, especially like I Spit on Your Grave.
See, I thought that was a love story going into it. So very disappointed.
Oh yeah, it was the Goodbye Girl of its time. More like the Endless Love of its time. Yeah.
Do you guys do a lot of filming like outdoors or public places? Has there ever been kind of awkward or weird situations involving people that aren't involved?
The Snob movie with like the homeless druggy person.
Oh, that's happened a couple of times.
And then,
some homeless person will come up to us and
Bruno Mattei show, the chick that was hitting on.
oh, was hitting on Jared and rubbing his head. One of his phone numbers was drunk. I remember when we shot Midnight Heat, and yeah, we guerrilla shot that stuff. We still kind of do. We guerrilla shot that stuff. We just went right into the Hilton and shot in the hallways. We went into a local pizza place and just shot in there, you know, guerrilla style. And there was a part of Midnight Heat where Jake is loading his gun when he's in the hallway. He's in the hallway about to bust in on my character at the end of it. And so he takes out his gun, he puts the clip in, and so that was the shot. It was just him loading up his gun. And I needed a couple of more takes on it. I think maybe it just didn't get in the frame all the way or something like that. So anyway, Jake had to like, okay, so bam! Yeah, it's because he had to reset it, so he had to put it down and bam, kind of shoot it. I mean, it wasn't loud, but it was a quiet hallway, so it was loud enough. And we were like, okay, we need to get this shot and get the fuck out of here. Otherwise, someone's going to open their room and see a couple of guys standing out here, one of them with a gun. It's an airsoft gun, but it looked real. It was one of them just standing there with a fucking airsoft gun. Another guy's wearing a suit, is holding a camera. So we got that done quick and just hightailed it the fuck out of there.
300th episode, filming the burning of Holy Terror. Let me tell you something, it's much easier to burn stuff during the winter. If no one goes outside at 6 in the morning and going on their way to their cars and sees you trying to set fire to something and filming it while you're in a nice brown suit. Yeah. So yeah, like I had at least a couple walk by me and just say, "It's okay, I'm just burning a bad comic." The second time that happened,
oh, okay. Good night.
Look look like a nurse or someone in Scrubs. She passed by and said, "It's okay, just burning a bad comic." At this time in the morning?
That's more of a 2 p.m. activity.
It couldn't wait.
Yeah,
It's Frank Miller.
back corner.
Yeah, recently they had the Secret Rim, which was supposed to be homage to other monster movies. What was your take?
I like Pacific Rim a lot. It felt original to me, you know. It felt like the kind of monster movie I hadn't seen in a while. It felt like the kind of robot movie I hadn't seen in a while, even though, yeah, some of it's similar to, of course, something like Robot Jocks, but the feel of the movie is
They're
different.
redundant. Thank you very much.
I didn't like. There were some people that complained about the characters in the movie, and I didn't have that problem. I loved Idris Elba. I loved Charlie Day. You know, I loved the supporting cast of the movie. You know, Charlie Hunnam wasn't the most three-dimensional character in the world, but compared to Aaron Johnson in Godzilla, he was Caligula. You know, but even still, I still like his character enough to where I didn't want to see him die. So yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of the movie.
They've announced
He
Pacific
didn't
Rim
die,
2.
yeah, I saw that. Is anyone else who hasn't gone yet? Anyone who has gone yet?
Otherwise, we have 4 minutes left.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just say this, Louis. Thank you for reviewing that comic by Frank Miller.
Thank you.
And it's just, I was so offended with that like racist thing like that Frank Miller did because I'm actually part Middle Eastern, half Middle Eastern actually. And when I saw that, I was like, really, versatile on really.
It's especially weird because he's been carrying, because Frank Miller's apparently been carrying around this rage for like 10 years now. Oh God, yes!
I didn't know he would go, like, I know he's like a sexist pig, you know?
Well, I hear he's not really a pig in real life, he's just really a horror fiend. He's your standard kind of writer who doesn't know how to write women.
Yeah. I didn't know he was like racist.
Oh my God, yes, he's insanely racist. I didn't even get into the stuff that he said during the, what are they called? The protests in New York, what are they called?
Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy Wall Street. He had choice words for Occupy Wall Street.
Did you like Mel Gibson in it?
Oh
one
no,
final
he
question.
didn't apologize for anything he says.
Yeah, Ash.
Ricard, even though you're still reviewing comics, would you ever consider, if there's another nostalgia critic opportunity, would you ever consider reviewing another movie with a nostalgia critic?
We'll see. I mean, who knows what'll happen the next week or two.
Okay, one final question for corner. Yeah.
I was just saying, considering that one of the people here is being involved with Sharknado 2, did you ever get to ask him about it?
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. A buddy of mine worked on Sharknado 2. He had some funny stories on it. Ryan Mitchell, who directed the Snob movie and Paranoia. I don't know of any of the stories I can say now, but hopefully in the future maybe I can interview him and he can talk about some stuff.
You might actually get in trouble just for saying that you know the stories and he wrote like the non-disclosure agreement.
But I didn't actually say any of them.
Right, but they'll know that he told you.
Bleep it.
I will check my phone here.
Ooh.
1 minute.
Yeah, 1 minute. Okay.
Make it good.
Gotta be a good one. Let's see. Right. What? Okay. Yeah.
I'm not going to ask what the worst movie you've ever done, but what about soul-crushing movies? Like movies that you've watched that make you want to give up.
Nuki. Nuki's the worst. Yeah, Nuki's the worst. It's like a cross between E.T. and To Catch a Predator. It's awful. It's the worst thing I had to sit through. I got through half of it, got up, paced around the house, cursed.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I just had to leave and get a drink and be like, I was like, oh man, I gotta really rethink what I'm doing with my life. And then I watched the rest of it the next day, and the same thing happened. I needed to go drink. to catch a Yeti was rough. I had to take a break like every 20 minutes and go on Twitter and be like, this piece of shit. Like,
You could call me and you're like, man, you can't believe this.
Don't believe this fucking thing. It's Meatloaf and this little fucking Yeti, and they're playing like the Allman Brothers on the soundtrack. What the fuck?
The one with the snake too, that like I was like, are you watching Harry Potter? Like what the fuck? Or the zombies or whatever, where the whole
Night of Horror.
Yeah.
Night of Horror was like hypnotic because like nothing happened in it. But I wasn't sitting there pissed. I was sitting there in a trance because nothing is happening in this movie. It is driving, it is people talking in a bar with the same camera angle, and you can't hear what they're saying. And then there is like 5 or 10 minutes of a Civil War reenactment that's supposed to pass as the actual Civil War in a flashback. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like this is, it's like staring into the Penguin's umbrella. Like, you felt like your eyes were gonna start bleeding and like your brain is melting. And once it got to that like part with the Civil War reenactment, Jillian was like just finally turned around from the computer. She's like, what the fuck are you watching?
It sounded like the snake talking from Harry Potter, and like the whole thing was like 7 years ago.
It goes on for 15 minutes with that thing to this return our Captain Skull. Like, what the fuck are you saying?
Getting you closer to the thing. And there's like, I remember there's like pauses in between each thing, like they're like reading them off screen and then continuing again.
I'm in a raid over here. What the fuck is going on?
I think that's time. Thank you so much. I hope you told some interesting stories. Can't see all this stuff. It's at thecinemasnob.com and you're...
It's off thefourthwall.com.
I'm on his list.
Back at theglasses.com, Blip TV. Check our stuff out anytime. Thanks a million.